So we're about at the end of James, and James 5:19 says, "My brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth," so you're in the truth, you wander off, wanders from the truth, and someone brings them back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from wandering will save their soul from death, will cover a multitude of sins. In that they'll be very blessed. So now, a Christian who's wandering from the truth, someone who calls himself a Christian, wandering off from the truth, they're probably one of the most miserable people on the planet because they're trying to live in two different worlds. They got one foot in the Christian world, they're trying to please their friends or their family or something, and they got one foot in the other world out there that they're trying to please their friends and family there, and so they have to kind of be like a chameleon, always changing their color, so to speak. And it's just it's exhausting. It's exhausting for them. Plus, they feel guilt or shame, or they feel that they're being judged, and so it's a terrible, miserable place to be. And so Jesus, he wants to bring people back, and he wants to free them from that exhaustion, bring them joy again, and so we can be part of that if we're bringing them back. Now, James doesn't say how to bring them back. But the context of what he was just talking about was powerful, effectual prayer. And so it seems like the context he's talking about is a lot of this, 99% of it maybe, is to pray for these people. You pray for them because, like J.R. Tolkien said, all who wander are not lost. I remember Jesus in Luke 22, he was talking to Peter, and he said, Peter, or Simon, or Shimon, Satan is asked to sift you like wheat, but I've prayed that your faith wouldn't fail, and when you return, you'll strengthen your brothers. Peter might have thought, why didn't you just pray that I wouldn't be sifted? But he's sovereign, and he knows, and so he allows this trial of sifting. In fact, there's some things that are very hopeful in that passage that Jesus was talking to Peter about. Because, Satan had to ask. He had to ask permission to sift Peter. If he had to ask permission to sift Peter, that points to the sovereignty of God, that God gave permission for the sifting, which means God's in control of even that, and that there's a lot of hope in that because Jesus is praying that his faith wouldn't fail. So even if it's just a tiny little bit, his faith wouldn't fail. And then, so that's that. Jesus is praying for you. He had to ask permission. And then Jesus says, when you turn, not if you turn, but when you turn, meaning there's hope there too, that you're going to turn back. So when we're praying for people and we're agreeing with Jesus in that kind of prayer, Lord, that they would return, you can be confident that he's praying the same thing. When they return, and then finally, they will strengthen their brothers. So when we have like wandering sons and daughters, wandering brothers and sisters, wandering friends, we can pray with confidence that God will bring them back, and that even when they come back, they're going to be a strength to the body of Christ again. And when we see them walk through those doors, or we help them, by leading them back, or that you just hear that they're back in with Jesus, they're back in the truth, so to speak, we can count that like payday, that yes, he has brought them back, because all who wander are not lost.